What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. We are here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is Thursday, June 6th. Game one of the NBA Finals is starting tonight. With Dallas heading to Boston. Should be a great series out there. My name is Chris Drummond. I am a sports reporter, freelancer, also a casino host. And I love bringing people on my podcast, the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast, to be able to talk about their why they do what they do, and who they are as a person. I got a special guest that's coming on with me today. Her name is Kelly Stewart. You may know her as Kelly in Vegas. She is a advocate, director of Wager Talk, sports betting, experienced sports betting analyst that breaks down different sports bets. She's been in media for many years, affiliations with ESPN, affiliations with Bleacher Report. We're going to talk to her about her why, what she does on a day-to-day basis, get into some of her favorite things, and yeah, just really get to know her outside of her job and her occupation. So, without any further ado, I introduce you the wonderful, the talented, the beautiful Kelly.
Hey, what's up,
Hey, Kelly,
Chris?
how we doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good. It's wonderful to see your face. I just want to say thank you so much for hopping on my
You're
podcast. Work
very
hard, play.
welcome.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. Pretty dope to see you. How's your week going?
So far, so good. Just I gotta get caught up on NFL. I spent so much time working on college football. We do a podcast the other day, and he's like, "What do you mean you haven't looked at week one in NFL?" And I'm like, I know the Chiefs are playing the Ravens. And he's like, "Are you kidding me?" And I'm like, let me just pull it up real quick. So it's usually about when I started anyway. So I
I
just
mean, it's
feel
still a little
behind.
early, a little early. You know, it
Yeah.
is June. We haven't even got to camp yet, so
Oh,
I
camp,
totally understand.
OTAs, guys haven't even decided if they want to show up. We're waiting on some contracts. It's fine.
Right, right. You know what I mean? So I understand college football with the preference of that first. I want to reiterate why I wanted to bring you on here and talk to you
Okay.
before and to start peppering you with questions. Obviously, you're involved with sports. You do a podcast with Murray. You've also been affiliated with Bleacher Report as an on-air talent. You've been affiliated with ESPN. You're a director of Wager Talk, if I'm not mistaken. You talk a lot about sports betting, sports in general. I'm a sports reporter. I love talking to people who love talking about sports because that's my passion. I also love getting to know people outside of what they do. So that's the whole point of talking about being on this podcast is really getting to know people outside of their occupation, but also talking about your occupation and what it is and what it entails. Because someone may have questions about what you do and may want to do what you do. So you just never know. So I love talking to people like that.
That's awesome. I didn't ask. You said, "Hey, I want to have you on my podcast." I said, "Sure, no problem." But it is interesting because I never have anybody that wants to talk about anything that's not sports gambling related.
Sure. No, see, we're going to have some fun because I got some icebreaker questions, but I also got some
Ooh.
questions about you as well. The first question that I normally have for my guests, as I always do, what is your why? What is your why of getting into sports and media? Obviously, you got the face for it. Obviously, you got the personality for it. Anybody would tell you that. So, what is your why? Was there some role models growing up? Did you just fall into this by accident? What's going on?
Oh yeah, this was a total accident, Chris. Come on. I did work for Barstool, and the very first podcast I was on there was Erica, and she said, "Hey, like, all this stuff just happened with ESPN." And I'm like, "It's okay. This was never my dream. I wasn't the little girl watching the sports reporter on the sideline like some of my
Mm,
female counterparts who wanted that." I laugh because I said, my dream job's always been not having one. I want to be a successful enough sports bettor where I don't have to work. Well, unfortunately, you got to be able to ride those waves.
sure, sure.
I have a business degree. I went to K-State.
Yep.
I graduated during a recession, and I'm like, I'm not moving home with my parents. And why would I want to do that? There's no jobs. And I had a girlfriend say, "Hey, we're going to move to Vegas." And I was working at a nightclub because that's what I was doing in college. I worked at
Okay.
Kites. I worked at, where else did I work down there? I worked at the Salty Rim, the margarita bar. Did
Oh, wow.
some work for
Okay.
the guys at Bobby T's. I hosted some contests. I was a part of some of those. There was a lot of that like fun stuff in college. And so right after college, saying, "Okay, I can have no job where I can do something that's in sales that's just not generating you money right now. I'm going to move to Vegas with some of my girlfriends. And so Vegas was never my dream either. It was just like, well, let's go do something different. And
Mm.
that's what kind of got me into the gambling stuff and inadvertently not realizing I was always a gambler. Like I didn't realize that till I moved to Vegas.
Okay.
But it was always inherent. I've always enjoyed the debate
Sure.
associated with sports. And now I have the background, the math, the statistics, the data, the trends, the angles, all of that to back it up at my disposal.
Sure.
And really starting to learn that side of things was really my why, because I love arguing with people. Like my why is because like I think the biggest thing people don't understand about sports gamblers, they love to be right. They want to be right so bad.
Of
The
course. Hell
the
yes.
money's
All the
fun,
time.
right?
Yeah.
Winning a few extra bucks is always fun, but getting to tell your friends, I told you that team was going to beat that team, even though they were 2 touchdown underdogs or whatever that is.
Mm.
And that's the funny thing. And so, 13 years ago, 15, 16 years ago, when I moved to Las Vegas, my
Right.
why was not that. My why was like, well, just survive. Don't move back to Kansas unless you absolutely have to. Go out here and see what you can do. And it was a really, really fun ride living in Vegas. You're young, you're single, you're in your 20s, early 30s, you're just having a great time. And eventually you're going, man, I'm tired of people coming to town every single weekend. Man, I'm tired
Right.
of drinking all the time. I'm
Right.
tired of just taking 2 or 3 day vacations in between work just to like escape the madness. Because when you live somewhere where it's everybody else's vacation, you never really get to leave that.
I totally understand that. I really do. I love Vegas. We'll actually be going out there next month for the NBA. It's an NBA career fair that's going down there where they
Very
normally do
nice.
the summer league. So I'll be going out there. You said Kansas State. Now that means you're a Wildcat alum. I want to know, were there any other schools that you considered going to other than Kansas State University?
Yeah, there actually was. I applied to Colorado State. My sister lived in Denver. I have a sister who's 14 years older than me. So she was like my second mom, if you will. And she lived
Sure.
in Denver. And I really had like a big soft spot for Colorado. But I didn't want to be like there. I just wanted to have it be close enough where, so I was like, oh, I looked at Fort Collins. I really love that area. So I did apply to Colorado State. And I remember I did not apply to USC. I applied to Arizona State as well. And
Okay.
I remember telling my mom, and she goes, who's paying for you to go to college out of state? And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, first of all, you're not going to Arizona State. Like you will be sorry, high school, Kelly. I can't imagine what Kelly in college is going to be like. And then it was funny because USC was also on my list. I would have never gotten into a million years in hindsight, but K-State played in Southern California my senior year of high school. And I was like, oh, I want to go. And then I was like, no, I don't. Like once you like realize like the traffic and that I would have been, for lack of better words, the poorest white trashiest girl on that campus. I mean, these kids are all driving $70,000 cars in the early 2000s. Like I would have been so poor and destitute trying to pay out of state tuition to try to like, I would have never fit in. It would have been a disaster. So I'm
Wow.
glad I got to experience it. Instead of trying to go there on a college visit, I got to experience it from a sports perspective, go to the Coliseum. K-State got the win. That was fun. But going forward, living in Vegas and going to LA all the time, I was never an LA girl. So I'm so glad I never wasted my time to apply to USC. But yeah, I applied to Arizona State and Colorado State as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in California, Kelly.
Okay.
I grew up there, San Diego to be exact.
Oh, love San Diego.
So absolutely, one of my favorite places. My dad was in the Navy, so he
Okay.
relocated us. I was actually born in Chicago, but he relocated us to San Diego when he was in the Navy. Got a lot of chances to see Reggie Bush at USC. I graduated high school in '05. I'm
Okay.
not sure when you graduated, but I graduated in '05. So that Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush, that was definitely me. I certainly loved that time of going there to the Coliseum and watching those guys play. I totally understand you about the traffic. I'm also a huge Lakers fan. Obviously, my high school years, they was winning a lot of championships
Yes.
during that time. So it was very good. I love that. I want to ask you some favorite questions. Okay. So you give me the 411 based upon some of these. Are you with me?
Yes.
All right, let's rock with it. Favorite meal you like to cook?
Ooh, I like to cook or I like to eat.
You
Ooh,
can
I
give me
like.
both up. Give me both
Okay,
up.
so I am a steak and potatoes girl. If you said you get one meal for the rest of your life, I'm eating a steak with a baked potato, some dinner
Okay.
rolls,
Okay.
and if I had to pick a vegetable, we'll go asparagus. But
Okay. Now,
actually
what kind of
cook.
steak? What kind of steak we talking
Oh,
about?
ooh, so it kind of depends on the mood and also what my trainer is going to allow me for caloric intake. Because I'm a ribeye girl all day, but we know
Sure.
that's the fattier, juicier, just
Oh yeah.
amazing cut of meat.
Yeah.
But my go-to is they make like a Wagyu sirloin, so it's nice and small and petite. It's not too many calories. There's not a lot of fat, and it cooks on the grill in like 4 minutes. Get yourself a little bit of extra. Like if it's just one of those, I need a quick meal. That's my go-to. If I'm at
Okay.
a restaurant, probably a fillet.
Okay. I'm with you on that. I'm definitely a sirloin kind of guy. I like ribeye. If I really would love a porterhouse, but I don't know if I
Ooh,
can fit all that in one setting. And I have to be really hungry for that.
yeah, that's like a
But
share. That's like a shared meal. I could do a nice sliced porterhouse for the table.
absolutely, no doubt, no question. Okay. Favorite concert you've ever attended?
Ooh, whoa, that
And I've
is
been to a lot of them. I've been to a
that's
lot
gonna
of
be
concerts.
hard.
Mhm.
Favorite concert I've ever attended. Man, I've had a lot of fun at a lot of different concerts. I'm gonna say that only because here's the problem. You remember all these concerts when you're a kid, and when you're a kid, your expectation level is different, and you don't remember the bad. You just remember like, oh my gosh, this was awesome.
Right.
Um, in college, we saw Genuine at I cannot
Wow.
remember. I think it might have been at the Holiday Inn in Manhattan. That was a lot of fun. Wasn't a great concert. A lot of fun though. So like it's interesting how you have a different perspective. If I had to say it, you know what I really like? I like festivals. Like 3-day festivals.
Sure. Absolutely.
I think some of my best memories growing up going to Country Stampede at Tuttle Creek, where you got to hear all sorts of different concerts. I just went to Chris Stapleton a few weeks ago. He puts on
He's great.
a wonderful show, but
Yes.
it's very difficult. And I'm sorry I don't have a clear cut answer. I'd love to say Garth Brooks. I went saw Garth Brooks at the Win, a
Okay.
very intimate setting. It was awesome. I was there with some of my best friends, and it was just it was just him and his guitar, right? No band, no nothing. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so hard to just pick one.
Definitely with you on the festivals. Went to Dreamville. If you
Okay.
know, you heard of that festival, that's J. Cole's festival.
Yeah.
In Charlotte, North Carolina. Went to that one time. Probably the best concert I've seen though was Lil Wayne versus Drake. That was epic. That was so epic. Them going back and forth. It was outside. It was in Atlanta because that's where I transplanted from. I'm based in Minnesota now,
Okay.
working out here. But I was in Atlanta, Georgia. So that was one hell of a concert for sure. No question.
That sounds awesome. Lil Wayne, top 5 of my favorite rappers. It's funny because you and I are the same age. So I think it's gotten kind of interesting because am I getting old and I just don't appreciate the new music? Or am I just so stuck on that 2000s era, like even early 2010s era
Yep.
where I'm like, nope, I'm stubborn. I'm not. This is it.
No,
It's
I'm with
Wayne
you.
and Dre, Snoop. It's 50. Like I was laughing the other day about 50 Cent. I'm like, when they made fun of Scotty Scheffler walking out like after getting arrested and they put
Right.
Miniman on there and I was like, God, this is one of his like my favorite 50 song. I didn't think about it
Absolutely.
until I heard it again. I'm like, God, this is by far. Everybody's like, what are you talking about? And lots of people love that song. I'm like, yeah, but if you ask a random person on the street, they're not going to say that's their favorite 50 Cent song. So
Right.
it's funny how concerts have really changed and what we listen to, but I'm still stuck in like whether it's country music, whether it's rap, whether it's pop music, like that mid 2000s is just where my brain wants to live.
Oh, no question. Recently I just saw 50 Busta Rhymes. He had his tour recently out here, and I saw him in Minnesota. And that Many Men song came on, and many people wasn't vibing to that, but they were vibing to some of the other stuff. Obviously the In the Club song they vibe
Yeah,
with.
of course.
I love Patiently Waiting
Oh,
from the Get
patiently
Rid of That,
waiting.
right?
Oh,
So that was mine. That was my bop right there. So I love that. But also like the one he also did with Eminem called Psycho. You remember that song Psycho?
yes, I
The one he
do.
did?
Yep.
So That was me. That was me in my time. And, I remember that time because that was kind of a transition of just getting out of high school. Or actually, no, I was '03. So that was just I was a junior. I was a junior when that dropped in high school. You was probably just getting out of high school yourself.
Yeah.
But that's a great time. It was a great time for great music, and not just rap, but like you said, all different kind of genres. Because on my Pandora, I have all different kind of genres, and I love
Same.
all different kind of shows. So I'm with you on that. Okay.
Remember when we were in high school and college and you used to make your own CD?
Yeah. Yeah.
My roommate hated me because she was like, "You're the only, that will
Yeah.
put a country song and a rap song and a rock song." And she's like, "No," she goes, "Put it all on one CD." I go, "No. This is just what I want to drive around to with the windows down, the top down." And she's like, "This doesn't go." I'm like, "Well, to this day, if you look at my my Spotify, that's all it is. It's just all over the map." That's hilarious. Also,
do you remember LimeWire?
Yes.
Do you remember that? Yeah, it's a throwback. Not many people do.
To download the songs.
Right.
And then you gave your computer a STD because it would just never work the same ever
again. Right. Okay. I just want to throw that out there because, like you said, we vibing. We're around the same age. So I like that. Here's the next favorite. Favorite sport you like to watch on TV. Favorite sport you like to watch in person.
Ooh. I think my answer is going to be the same. Well, you know what? Actually, we'll pivot. I love to watch football anytime.
Okay.
Love to watch football anytime.
I'm with you on that.
It is by far my favorite sport. But because I don't want that to be the same answer for both, my second favorite sport to watch in person is hockey. I love the fights. I love the slamming into the glass. There's just something like really, I don't know if raw is the right word, but like there's a lot of passion. We do get it in football, right? You still get that like hard hits and things like that. But I feel like in football, let's just say you're sitting on the 10-yard line, right? You can't always get the best view. Whereas on TV, the NFL has got cameras on every single different angle. You are getting the best view from your couch. No matter if you've got the most expensive seat in the house in an NFL stadium, you're not getting the best view. Whereas even in hockey, even the cheap seats up above, you can see everything that's going on. And I feel like they have a great viewing experience. I hate baseball on TV. Love to go watch baseball in person, get a beer, get a hot dog, hang out, get a tan, because sometimes it's that boring. But for the most part, I would say football reigns supreme.
Well, I certainly don't need much of a tan with my skin complexion, but I'm with you on a football. I'm with you on hockey as well. Hockey being so closed, like it's not as many people in the stadiums. You don't have a bad seat at all. I would love watching the Wild out here and watching them play. Football, not so much the Vikings. I'm not a really huge Vikings fan.
Well, guess who's now the Falcons quarterback?
Right. Kirk Cousins, right? And 180 million reasons why he should be a Falcons quarterback. That's for sure. 100 of that guaranteed. But yeah, I get it. I totally get it. I'm football and basketball. I would say hockey is right there, but football, basketball for me for sure. Last of the favorites. Favorite restaurant you like to eat at?
Ooh. So here's I joke that I can make myself steak and just eat that every day. Some people could eat pizza every day. I was complaining. So I moved to Florida a couple of years ago and I love 90% of Florida, right? There's a few things I'm like, I wish that the Mexican food here is so awful. I just wish, don't get me wrong, we have great Central American food. We have great South American food. I cannot just find some really good tacos and some chips and salsa to save my life.
Wow.
My favorite restaurant by far, and I realized this just the other day talking to my friends, because when I lived in Vegas, what did we have? Great Mexican food.
Okay.
I miss really good Mexican food. If I went out to eat every day and I could only get the same thing, I'd probably get tacos.
I love it. Now I know you and I can vibe. We can certainly be friends for sure, because that's my favorite food as well. I love making tacos too. So
you're gonna have never as good. I can do it. It's okay. It serves a purpose, but I want like authentic, just really good carnitas, or I really want like that white queso dip that I've tried 400 times to make myself, and I just can't replicate it.
Absolutely. No question about that. This next question here has to do with your occupation. Okay. What do you do on a day-to-day basis? Talk about your pod that you have with Murray. Talk about what do you do on a day-to-day basis. When you get up, what the hell does Kelly do? How does she
It's
get
funny.
ready for
Here
the
it
day?
is. I am old school. I write everything down. Yes, I have a
Oh,
Google
wow.
Calendar as well, but I like to
Yeah.
keep everything in order. So
Okay.
obviously, here's the day of the week. Here's all my to-do for the week.
Sure.
And
Sure.
then I am okay. Let's just use today, for example. This morning,
Let's
I
do it.
got up, I worked out, said, okay, got a couple errands I need to run, met my girlfriend for lunch, said, all right, I'm working today from 2 to 6. This is what I got to do. I got a podcast here. I've got a couple of calls there. And then a lot of what it really is very boring. I've done a couple different reality TV shows and like, we want to follow you around. And I'm like, you want to watch me go on the spreadsheets? You want me to track, you want to see me track the injury reports on Friday afternoon? Like, just like very basic things. And those things have actually evolved, I'll say,
Sure.
because now I
Sure.
just sign up for alerts from Woj. So I woke up this morning and I'm like, oh boy, is Dan Hurley going to be the new coach of the Lakers? Like, I didn't have to go searching for that. It just came to me. So a lot of what I've done has started to evolve over the last, I would say, 13, 14 years that I've been in sports gambling. It's been a really interesting ride, but I still handwrite all my notes before I type them up.
Okay.
I'll say this, Kelly and Murray is very low lift for me because John is one of my best friends. We just hop on the show. His job is to keep the wheels on the bus moving forward, because otherwise I'll go down some crazy rabbit hole. So he does all the rundown, and we have a couple producers that do all the back end stuff for us. Now, Wager Talk, being the director of media relations, I have a couple different hats that I wear. I help formulate new shows. I work with the production team, make sure they have everything that they need. I work with the social media guys, making sure the tweets are correct, or the right videos are going up. We have some really great guys that know all the SEO, and they work with AI to optimize YouTube videos. I'm not smart enough for that, so I don't want to take any of that credit.
You
But
and me
then
both.
I also do a lot of hosting. Like earlier, we shot a CFL video this morning. I guess this afternoon. Because CFL is starting today, and we have a couple guys that are very well versed in Canadian football. Well, there's not a lot going on right now. Yes, finally, we do get the NBA finals tonight. Sure, we've got some hockey playoff, the Stanley Cup playoffs or finals, excuse me, are coming up, but it's been kind of a dead week. So I've been working towards doing some more evergreen content for Wager Talk. That being like little things that people Google. How do I make a sports bet? And that the reason why we're redoing some of those is because that has changed. That used to be like me walking up to a window, showing people, here you have your sheets. Here's how you read your rotation number. Tell them what you want. Now it's pick up your cell phone and log in. I mean, things have really started to evolve, but also there are questions that people have from sports gambling. And I want at Wager Talk for us not only to do the media side of things, but to help people become better bettors. I want people to be able to type in what is VIG, what is juice, right, on a sports bet, and they're going to get their answer in less than 90 seconds. So we're actually taking our long form content, converting it to short form, and if it's no longer relevant, getting rid of it and redoing it. So that's kind of what I'm doing for the summer, in between doing some NFL work. I joked the other day on Kelly Murray, I haven't even looked at week 1 yet. And I was like, well, I know that the Chiefs play the Ravens, and you laughed and you said, it's still early. It is. I usually dive really deep into NFL, usually right around camp, like dive in head first. But this year I'm blessed enough to get to take my best friend for her birthday to Italy for 2 weeks. So I am not doing any work for 2 weeks. I'm like, I'm off. Nobody call me. Nobody bother me. I'm going to enjoy myself and actually unplug for the first time ever.
I love it.
So I've got to get ahead of some of this work. Now, granted, I might have to go back and change some things, but the beauty of this industry is that a lot of us like working together, and I get a lot of support from guys who are very smart. My buddy Ralph does his own set of numbers, so I always like to do mine, and then I have his to compare to. Well, I wonder why I made that game 4.5 and Ralph made it 2.5. Let's talk. So there's a lot of daily conversations I have with some of those guys as well. So it's not as glamorous as everybody thinks. It's pretty nerdy. I mean, I laugh all the time on bet on it. I put on my nerd glasses because it's like, okay, we got it. This is the reality, guys. There's a lot of work. Now, if you're just a recreational bettor and you just want to have fun and you want to bet $5 parlays, I'm all for it. But I do think that there is a group of people who are looking for more. And that's
Sure.
what my ultimate goal is in giving them.
Absolutely. And I love that. I love that. I truly, truly do. Because I'm somebody who likes to bet every now and then. I'm not somebody who likes to bet every single day. But at the same time, I like to place. I get kind of caught up with prop bets and then winners. I'm more of the winners and the over-unders. I like to bet
Okay.
those, especially with basketball, because basketball is such a high-paced game. And a lot of the games are over-unders now. You don't really, or overs, I should say, because you don't really have a lot of teams that like play 80 to 82. It's really not a whole lot of teams that do that. So I like to do that. With football, I'm more so of the spreads. I like to do the spreads with them. 9 times out of 10, it doesn't take long for at least NFL football for you to realize when it's a good team. You know what your good teams, your championship teams are going to be like. College football, geez Louise, there's over 300 Division I schools. I mean, I don't know how you can. I mean, you get the ranked, right? The top 25. I get that. But they always change. They're ever changing all the time.
For college basketball, like you said, there's over 300 Division I teams. For college basketball, I tell people all the time, my best advice, pick a couple conferences. You live in Minnesota, fine. Pick the Big Ten. Okay, I'm from I'm originally from San Diego, now formerly known as the Pac-12. A lot of those teams are in the Big Ten. That being said, or hey, I live in Florida. I went to K-State. I'm going to do the Big 12, the SEC, and the Big 10 this year, and just dive in and learn all you can learn about those specific teams. Because you're right, when there's 300 teams, I know guys far smarter than I'll ever be. They love the Patriot League. They love the MEAC. They love all these. So I let them handle that. And they got a question about Florida. Hey, Kelly, you knew the assistant basketball coach at Florida, right? Yep. Know him. Let me see what's going on over here with this injury, right? Kind of you pat my back, I scratch your back, you scratch mine, kind of one of those like, hey, help me out, and have some of your friends who follow a different conference than you. That's kind of how I think you can get in. Because you're right, with the NFL, following 32 teams is not that hard to do. Like you said, the cream rises to the top. You know who the quarterback's going to be. Now, granted, you got to hope he stays healthy all year, but and at least, come Friday, Saturday, you know who the backup's going to be. You're right. College basketball, man, you get guys that are last year be like 12 minutes before the game. NBA, WNBA.
Right.
I've got some guys at Wager Talk. My buddy Ski, so helpful with WNBA. The other day, he was like, hey, this is good. She's playing 8 minutes before the game. Announced out. I'm like, are you kidding me?
That sounds crazy as hell, don't it? It really does.
You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. Sometimes you're going to be on the right side of that information. Sometimes you're going to be on the wrong side.
I love it. I do. This next question has to do with mental health. Now, you've been in this industry doing your thing, moving from Vegas. Now you're in Florida, which whenever I do touch down in Florida, I'm definitely going to have to hit you up, by the way.
Absolutely.
But talk to me about, your mental health and work-life balance, because in this industry, being a reporter or being somebody that's on TV, doing podcasts or in sports is not conventional time. This is not business hours from 8 to 5, 9 to 6. We work crazy hours, sometimes long days. How do you keep your mental health strong, but also have that work-life balance? Because you seem like a personable person like myself. So how do you do that?
Yeah, I'm a people person. You're right. So that's part of it, I think. I'll say this much. Have I had several discussions with my boyfriend over the last 9 years of put your phone down. The game's over. Why are you tweeting at midnight? It's 6 a.m. Why are you already awake? We're at the game. Why are you tweeting about another game? We're supposed to be enjoying this game. Well, this game's going on and it's going to overtime. And it's like, I can see his frustration. But yes, I feel like I'm always working, and that's a blessing and a curse, right?
Sure.
To be blessed enough to have a platform, to have multiple people paying you money to do what you love is an absolute blessing. That's where I said that unplug thing in Italy for 2 weeks, because that's something that I think is very important. You'll notice a lot of people in our industry right after Super Bowl or in July, before camp or mid-June, they're always taking like their family vacations, or they're kind of going off, hey, Twitter will be back in a couple of weeks, whatever that looks like. I think that is extremely important. I will say this, when I started at Wager Talk and I started working for other companies and I'm like, hey, I'm not doing baseball. I don't love baseball. I don't really enjoy personally handicapping it. I get some baseball plays from some sharp guys here and there. I just need a break. After college basketball ends, let's do some NBA. Let's talk some NHL. Let's have some fun. But it is a really big wind down period because I know that right away that jet's taking off again because football season is less than 80 days away.
Right around the corner. Yep.
So I have to be better about balancing that home life work. I'm not the best at that. And if somebody has any suggestions, I'd love to hear it. Now, as far as having thick skin, dealing with some of the negative vibes on social media, whatever that looks like, I'm trying to think of who it was that said they would have never been able to do it in the social media world. It was just the other day. Somebody,
Right.
I cannot remember which NBA player it was. It wasn't Charles because we know Charles is not on
Social
media.
media. No.
He doesn't care.
Right.
But regardless, somebody was like, I would have never been able to do that. I would have never had a thick enough skin. And I think that's what it is. You've just got to take it and laugh. You know, John Murray told me this when we started the podcast like 5 years ago. Kelly, there are a lot of losers out there. And it just so happens Twitter is full of them. They hate their wives. They hate their jobs. They hate their lives. They live at home with their parents. They're not as successful. They're not as any of these other things. And if you realize that, you actually probably feel sorry for these people. And he goes, and instead of firing back, because we all know that I used to love to fire back and I'll still chirp and I'll still argue.
I bet you do. I bet.
But it's not to the extent it used to be because it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, whether I'm right or I'm wrong, or I win a bet or I lose a bet, or I say a hot take about Caitlin Clark on a podcast, no matter what I say, someone's going to be mad. Someone's going to agree with me and someone's going to be mad at me. And I think that that's the one thing I learned at Barstool. It doesn't matter if they love you or they hate you. It matters if they're watching. Are you still relevant? Are people talking about you? Are you in this like revolving news cycle? And it seems kind of like a hamster wheel at times, but it's true. It's true. I joked right after college basketball, right after the national championship, I joked at my analytics, you know, because Twitter gives you a report. I looked at my analytics and then like 2 weeks, it was like down 96%. Of course it is. My biggest part of the season from August, it has been, you know, doing all these things. I had really great growth over the last couple of years, just fell off a cliff. It's going to be what happens unless I try to constantly keep churning things out. But like I said, you've got to take some time, whatever that is, whether it's, you know, you put in a tweet and you put your phone down. I have so many of my friends are like, oh, I never reply in the comments. I'm like, really? Some of the comments are, I appreciate other people's opinions. I appreciate other viewpoints on it.
Absolutely.
Let me hear it. You know, I said of Caitlin, I said she should stay another year at Iowa. She's going to be hated in the WNBA. Now she's hated in the WNBA and people can't stop talking about it. I'm like, we all knew this was going to happen. It wasn't a dig on Caitlin. It wasn't a dig on the WNBA. It was kind of seeing, here's what's going on in college. Oh boy, when she gets to the big leagues, she's going to get bullied.
She's going to be tested. She's going to be tested.
Rookies, whether it's in the NFL, whether it's in the MLB, whether it's in the NBA, rookies get bullied all the time. They get and no one says anything. But because it's women doing it, now all of a sudden it's like, oh, poor Caitlin Clark. And it's like, no, I'm pretty sure this was going to happen. But it's just, it becomes that news cycle. And it's like, I could have some crazy hot take, but then what? Then I can't disconnect. When I hit that send button, I can't disconnect. So I gotta take some of my friends' advice and just be like, fine, say what you want to say, but then put the phone down. Wake up the next morning if you really want to, you know, whatever. Don't be on Twitter till 3:00 in the morning going back and forth with a bunch of yahoos.
Right. Because like you said, it does nothing for you. At the end of the day, you still going to be Kelly, whether you wake up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or whatever day, and you still going to have your job. You still going to do what you do. You're going to say what you say because you have that right. And they got their right to say what they want to say. Okay, you leave it at that. We can agree to disagree. I love that take because mental health wise, for me as a reporter, when I'm reporting and going out to these kids and going out to interviewing college athletes in the town that I am, for me, it's like, okay, this is therapeutic. This is what I love to do. I love to do this with a passion. If I had enough money in my bank account, I would do this for free. That's the first question I would ask. Would I do this for free if I had enough money to take care of my family and my loved ones? If the answer is yes, then you know that's your passion. You know that's what you do. But I also know for mental health, there's going to be some naysayers. I don't know anybody that would want to naysay you because you are absolutely wonderful in a plethora of ways. There's no question about it in my mind. But at the same time, there's going to be people that's going to naysay you anyway. There's going to say bad things about you. There's going to have outrageous takes that want to spark up debate just for like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever of your time of fame. And it's like, bro, or like, girl, come on now. Like, it's not even worth it at the end of the day. So I do like your take about dealing with mental health because that can run you into the wall and it can cause a lot of stress on you if you have to reply to every damn body that says something, right? Which is also a great leeway to this question. It's advice. What if there was someone that came up to you, Kelly, and was like, you know what, Kelly? I want to do what you do. I want to be really in the sports gaming, in sports betting, and sports gambling. I want to be inverse as much as you are. I want to do your kind of job. What is some advice you would give someone about pursuing that kind of role?
That's funny you say that. The woman that I'm taking to Italy did just that about 5 years ago. She hit me up on social media and was like, "Hey, I'm in the media space. I just left, my traditional media role. I want to get into sports gambling." And now we're like best friends. It's kind of wild how that all panned out. But I told her, I said, here's the mistakes I made. Don't do these mistakes. Number one, you should be a sponge. Find somebody who knows so much about this and do what they do.
Okay.
I think that if you want to be in sports betting, you want to figure out who you want to emulate and figure out what they do correctly. Figure out what they're doing that's successful, right? And that's what I did. I was working at a nightclub. Don Best said, "Hey, we want you to do some stuff." And I'm like, no. Like, I'm doing all right at the nightclub. Like, I don't need another job. Like, what do you mean? And he's like, "Listen, I think this could really be something." And I'm going, "What do you mean? It's only legal in like, this is, I think, 2012, right? So like 12 years ago. And I was just recreational betting, just having fun. And every day that I went to that Don Best office, I was always asking questions and I was always wanting to learn. Well, why do you make this quarterback 6 points? Why do you make this quarterback 4? They're really not that different. Well, here's why they're different. This is how they're going to run the offense with quarterback A. This is what they're going to have to do because this guy is not that dual threat. Yes, he can run with his legs, but his arm is not near the strength of quarterback A, right? And finding out more of the math side of things. Because I'll be the first one to tell you, my math teacher in high school uses me as an example every day. I did terrible in algebra 2. I had to retake it my senior year because I did so bad. I got a D in it and I hated it because it didn't apply to my life. I didn't understand why I needed it. And then coincidentally, I took statistics in college and I loved it because I could apply it to everyday use. Business finance, one of the hardest classes at K-State. I did well. I got a B+. I was pissed. I should have got an A. I should have tried just a little bit harder. But I think that I think it's funny because I've realized that about myself. Things that I'm really passionate about come easy to me. So being in that office and being with those guys and then starting to do more traditional media. I didn't go to broadcast school like so many of these women that I know. I have a business degree. I was just working at a nightclub, slinging bottles of vodka and champagne and having a good time.
Absolutely.
Now here I am. Here's how you read a teleprompter. When I got that job at Bleacher Report, there was a steep learning curve. I had some really great producers that took me behind the scenes and said, "Here's how you want to do this. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how you type up your notes so we can put it on the screen so that you can have those bullet points you need. Here's how you're going to put this mic so it doesn't look like this. Here's how you're going to stand, Kelly, so it doesn't look like you're 20 pounds heavier on camera." Like little things that I had no idea. I'm like, why do I look so chubby on this show? And my producer's going, "Well, Kelly, look how you're standing." And I'm like, "That's how I stand." She's like, "Not on TV. This is what." And so I really do think that there's somebody, like, find out who it is and just start asking questions. I would say so many people in this industry are so helpful. I have had you were talking about not trolls, but mental health. I've had so many people be like, "Oh my God, Kelly, the trolls and this and that." And I'm like, yeah, but those people aren't mean to me in real life. In real life, those people are great. You don't even know who they are.
Right.
I have so many, like I said, Don Best, Wager Talk, Bleacher Report, learning how, okay, I never even knew how to do anything with TikTok. My second day at Barstool, I sit down with a 22-year-old guy who's a TikTok genius. And he's like, "Let me help you out." Now, did I ever end up going viral on TikTok? No, but he helped me figure out just enough. Okay, here's the kind of content I'd like to produce. And here's
Sure.
how you actually edit it on your own. Here's what you need to do to kind of be successful at how the industry is ever evolving. And I think that is what I would say to somebody who, let's just say you just graduated from college, find somebody that you want to emulate, figure out what they're doing, ask
Mhm.
a lot of questions, just a lot. And you may feel stupid asking some of those, but ultimately you're going to get your answer. And ultimately you're going to learn something new. I teased Ariel this morning. She was texting with another gambler, Ryan. I said something about the Rolex commercial. And she's like, I don't get it. And I was like, I'm done with you for the day. And she texts on the side. She goes, can you just tell me? I said, we've been over this. And she goes, send it to me. And I just sent her an article. And she is brilliant. But certain things are going to go past you. So it's okay to feel stupid, especially if it's around your friends and they have like really good insight into something. And I think that ultimately, look, you want to be a doctor? Guess what? You got to go to med school and hang out with doctors. You
Right.
want to be in media? Go get an internship somewhere in the media
Yep.
space. You're
Mhm.
gonna have to work cheap or free, but when you're there, just absorb as much as you possibly can.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. This is a bonus question that just came up in my mind, Kelly, as I was looking at you talk. It's competitive. I mean, it's competitive. This is a competitive industry. And you're obviously with sports gambling. There's another sports gambling analyst, is what I like to call y'all. Sports gambling analyst or commentator. And her name is Erin Kate Dolan, if you know her. Does it ever get competitive with other different kind of betting people that they're putting their perspective on it, you putting your perspective on it? Does it ever get super competitive like that?
So I haven't met Erin, but we have conversed in the direct messages, and I'm super happy for all of her success. Ariel Epstein, MLB Network, same
That's
thing.
another one. Yep.
Claudia Belfato, I think, is now with DraftKings doing some different stuff over there.
Yep.
Liv Moods has been in the industry. Taylor Mathis is doing some different stuff. There's plenty of other women in the industry. And I don't mean, but when saying this, I put myself on a pedestal, but I know I'm the oldest one of that group. I know that I was one of the first women in the industry. So I kind of feel like I joke that I'm like the gambling grandma. Like, I know I'm not old enough to be a grandma, but you know what I mean? Like, I want to help those ladies in any way they can. I don't see them as competition. But that's because I think we're all in different niches and we all bring different things to the table.
Right.
So no, I don't. And also, you're going to laugh at this. I don't like other people's opinions inflicting in my own. So I very rarely watch if there's a game on, of course, but I don't watch Sports Center. I might catch Van Pelt here and there after a game because
He's pretty good.
He's got good headlines. I love to watch the guys on TNT.
Yep.
But again, I'm not taking their opinions and it's affecting my bets, right? Like that's more of an entertainment. And I've heard the word wagertainment thrown around a lot. And I think that is what a lot of people are doing is
sure.
There's a trifecta here, right? You want to entertain people, you want to educate people, but you don't want to be like the know-it-all.
Right.
And sometimes I cross over that too much on one of the other. Sometimes I'm goofing off too much. Sometimes I'm too nerdy. And sometimes I think I'm, super smart when maybe I'm not. And I find that to be rather interesting. But no, I don't feel like there's a lot of competition. I think there's room for any woman or any man or anyone who wants to enter the space.
I love it.
I really do. But I think you've got to know what you're talking about because you will get eaten alive. You misspeak on a Twitter Spaces or you say something wrong. We've seen Reese, I forget his name. He was with Aaron K. Dolan when he misspoke saying that it was a guaranteed bet. Well, guess what? You can't say that, especially when the Massachusetts Gaming Commission is going after another guy for saying somethings that can't lose. Right. So we gotta keep it. Everybody's gets treated the same. So just know that you have a misspeak. They're going to eat you alive for it.
I love it. I'm on here with Kelly Stewart, sports betting analyst, one half of Kelly and Murray podcast, Wager Talk. I mean, your resume goes on and on a Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. Kelly, we're at this point now where I want to do this or that. Okay. So this or that is throwing two things at you and you decide which one you want. Are you with me?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Popeyes or KFC?
Oh, Popeyes.
Okay, girl, we off to a good start. I like it. Chicken wing flavors, barbecue or lemon pepper?
I like sweet chili, but if you're gonna make me pick, I gotta go barbecue.
Sweet chili is good. That's good, but that's also a rare. It's rare that people pick that a lot. Okay, do you like your wings wet or dry?
Ooh, that's interesting. This just came up the other day. I like them wet, but I had tried some dry rub the other day and it was
Pretty good.
excellent. But I would
Yeah,
I
pretty
would
good.
prefer my wings wet. Yes.
Okay, do you like them bone in or boneless?
Oh, you gotta have a bone. Otherwise, you're eating a chicken nugget.
So many people say that shit. So many people do. And listen, I understand, but either way, I'm boneless or bone in. But if you gave me a choice, I'm probably going to pick boneless because I like to dip my shit. I like to dip it into the sauce.
Oh,
I like to dip it. You know, I don't mind getting messy now, but if I twisted my arm to choose one, I'm choosing that. So here we go. Bowling or badminton?
ooh, badminton.
You are in the minority in that. I love
Yeah.
badminton too, though. I love it. Okay, so are you good at badminton? Do you hit
So I
that
haven't
birdie
played
good?
in a really long time, but in high school, one of the electives for PE that you got to take was net sports and
Right.
badminton. I'll never forget. I got ISS because I basically all but skipped my next hour in a badminton tournament against my boyfriend in high school's older brother. I don't know why he didn't get in trouble for missing the next class, but we were in an intense badminton conversation. And that
Wow.
now I want to play badminton.
Okay, that's awesome, Kelly. I appreciate that 411. That's what's up. I like that. These next three questions have to do with concerts that
Okay.
you rather attend. Okay, so which concert would you rather attend, Kendrick Lamar or Drake?
Drake.
Wow, you was quick on that one. Okay, I like that. I like
He
both
puts on a
artists,
good
but
show.
he does put on a good show. Have you seen him live?
I have not, but I've seen enough clips that I'm like, okay, a Drake concert would definitely be fun.
You definitely need to put that on the bucket list. He's really good. Next one is I would say Carrie Underwood or Casey Musgraves.
Casey Musgraves.
Wow, you was definitive on that one too. I thought you would go Carrie.
I've seen Casey. Casey's awesome. I really enjoy her show. I mean,
Okay.
Carrie's great. She sings Monday Night Football, whatever. But Casey's got so many hits that nobody ever knows about.
Okay.
And me and one of my best friends, Kayla, we've seen her a few times now.
Okay. Now, which Luke would you rather see in concert? Would you rather see Luke Combs or Luke Bryan?
Ooh. I think it's got to be Luke Combs. I've seen Luke Bryan before. No hate, but I think Luke Combs has got some really good hits right now. He seems to be on that trajectory where Luke Bryan just kind of cruising. You know, like I feel like Luke is like still in it enough where you're going to get the best bang for your buck concert wise.
Sure. No, absolutely. I'm more familiar with Luke Combs than I am with Luke Bryan. Luke Combs is definitely he's legit. I mean, I'm not a huge country person, but if I'm going to listen to some country, he's definitely going to be one of the people that is on my Pandora for sure, no question. And Morgan Wallen, him too,
Yeah.
no question.
God, yeah. See, I went to Morgan right after he got his voice. That's the only reason why I didn't say Morgan. There's a very long story that I'm not telling on your podcast, but I took Ariel to Morgan Wallen, and it was right after the incident at Ole Miss, and it was so like, I'm like, Morgan, come on, man. I know you're not feeling great and your voice is hurt, but like, can you give me a little something more? So
Right.
I gotta go back to Morgan because she just went and saw him at MetLife.
Well, listen, let's talk about, I would love to hear that story. We can talk about that offline. How about that?
Okay.
I would love that. I would love to hear that
I'm just
story,
not
though.
trying to get arrested today for something I did last year.
No, we don't. And I don't want to be a co-conspirator of anything. So I'm good. So I'm so good. Three more this or that's. Do you like desserts?
I like dessert.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to throw four desserts at you. You have to get rid of one.
Okay.
Okay? Candy's the first one. So that means gelatin or chocolate. Cake is the second one. So that means any kind of cake, pound cake, cupcake, doesn't matter. Ice cream is the next one. Okay? Last one is cookies. Which one are you getting rid of that you cannot?
See you later, candy.
I love it. because I would have got rid of candy too. I really would have. Okay. Okay. I like it. So are you more, so hold on. If you like cake, what type of cake do you like?
Red velvet, number one.
Oh, okay.
Number one choice.
That is probably my number two. It's probably my number two. Yeah. I would say for me is pound cake. Pound cake's number one.
A good
Yeah.
lemon pound cake is not bad, but
It's delicious. No doubt. But red velvet cake is pretty good too. Okay, same format. Do you eat potato chips?
yes.
Okay, same format. Got to get rid of one. First one I'm going to name is Ruffles. Then I'm going to name Lay's. Then I'm going to name Doritos. Then I'm going to name Pringles. Which one are you getting rid of?
Lay's.
I understand.
Too boring.
I understand. Well, you know, they do differentiate in flavor, but in all...
Yeah, but like at least Ruffles has ridges. At least that's what the marketers say.
The greatest chip ever made, Kelly, is sour cream sour cream and cheddar for Ruffles. The greatest chip ever made.
It's so good.
Yes, I'm not even going to debate nobody on that shit. That's what it is. No doubt. Okay. If Kelly was not in sports betting or in sports in general, what career would she have pursued and why?
Ooh. I don't know. I think it would probably, I wanted to do maybe something like business operations for a team. But that just wasn't ever really a thing either. Like I applied for an internship with the Denver Broncos after college. I'd probably, if as it stands today, now 18-year-old Kelly might've been different, but as it stands today, I'd probably own a bar.
I could tell. What's your favorite drink to make?
My favorite drink to make and drink is margaritas.
Can you make a good margarita?
I can.
I'm gonna have to put that to the test, Kelly.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to put it to the test, okay? I'm gonna hold you to that because I'm not a huge margarita guy. Not gonna lie to you, but if you can make it good, because a lot of people put too much damn salt, and a lot of people don't know how to make it really good.
And they put too much sour mix or too much triple sec. It's very simple. Right. Shot of tequila, fresh lime juice, agave, dry shaken, over ice, black salt. That's all you need.
I'm gonna keep it in mind. Like I said, we're gonna put that to the test for sure. I'm much more of a vodka guy. Hennessy is also something I love to do as well. Whenever I go dark, but vodka and cranberry, I'm really simple. I'm really simple with the liquor.
You're gonna love Vegas then.
Oh yeah, well yes, absolutely. I'm gonna have a good time when I go out there.
Anymore. I think I had 4,000 vodka cranberries when I lived there, and I just can't do it anymore. I had enough.
I understand. I totally get that. Speaking of Florida, I have never been to Florida, although I transplanted from Atlanta to here. I was right there, but I never ever went to Florida. I need some recommendations. Where should I go or what should I do when I touch down in Florida?
Well, it all depends on what you're looking for, right? I joke that Florida's like 7 different states in one, right? Like Miami's its own area, the Gulf side's its own area, Orlando's its own area. Where my dad lives up by Gainesville, where the University of Florida is like hillbilly heaven. I love it. I love going up there, but I could never live up there. The Panhandle is like its own area. Jacksonville is like kind of Jacksonville might as well be in Georgia. Like I go up there and I'm like, sir, when I hear somebody talk, I'm like, that's a little too thick for me to understand.
Right.
All jokes aside, Miami's great, I think, for vacations. I think the Gulf side, if you want nice, warm water, clear beaches. Orlando, fine. You want to go to Disney World or Universal. That's the only reason why I would see going there. I think Tampa has great nightlife, good restaurants. Obviously, it's got the Rays, it's got the Bucks. Jupiter, you love to play golf. You're going to want to go to the west side and go to Jupiter, West Palm Beach, north of there. So it all depends on what you want to do. But I have become a real Florida girl. I'm finally not paying for tans. Now I just go sit outside on my back porch in the morning.
I love it. I love it. Now, what part of Florida are you in?
So I'm just south of Tampa.
South of Tampa. So I've never, like I said, Tampa, I'm a huge sport person. So definitely the Rays and the Bucks is definitely intriguing to go to Tampa.
Yeah, lightning games are great.
That's true. Lightning games as well. Daytona Beach, somebody told me.
Oh, boy. Yeah, see? If you want to go to spring break, Panama City, Daytona Beach, Fort Lauderdale Beach, oh, my gosh. I'm too
Okay.
old to be doing that, though. That's what you understand. I can't live that life anymore.
Yeah, I want to go somewhere and have some fun, but I want to be quiet as well and discreet. I don't know if that's even possible to do, but I like to, have a good time. But because I'm a bachelor, so I like to travel and I like to be able to go different places and visit different things and see what I like. So
There you go.
that's why I love asking this question because I want to be able to go and visit that. So definitely got to keep that in mind for sure. Um, what is something as far as advice? Now we talked about you giving advice, but what is some advice that someone has gave you that you hold on dearly to?
Ooh. You know what? It's a Lamar Jackson quote, and I've heard different variations of it, but it's just work harder, nobody cares. Like nobody needs to hear how hard you're working. Just keep going forward.
Wow.
This isn't a competition. This is you versus you. You get to set the pace, you get to decide what you want this to be. Okay. This adversity happened to you. Guess what? Keep going forward, keep working harder because nobody cares. And it's not nobody cares. Maybe your mom cares or your brother cares or your dad cares, but like nobody else cares. Maybe a friend might care. You need to care and you just keep moving forward. Again, nobody cares. Just work harder.
I love it. Kelly Stewart, once again, of Wager Talk, one half of the Kelly and Murray podcast here on the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. You know I can't get you out of here without talking some actual sports. Now, we got game one of the NBA Finals tonight. The spread earlier this week had the Mavericks plus 225 and the Celtics minus 180 to win the title. Me personally, looking at the matchup, I have the Mavericks in 6. And the reason why I have the Mavericks in 6 is because I just feel that the two superstars of Luka and Kyrie are going to cause so many matchup problems, especially with Boston not knowing how Porzingis is going to be, not playing in almost 3 weeks. He might be healthy, but his stamina might not be there. So for me, Mavericks been playing. Boston has had the least amount of games of the 4 teams that was left in the conference finals. So for me, they've rested quite a bit. I think Mavericks is 6. What do you think about that?
So I like Kyrie to win MVP. I actually boosted it at the Westgate Superbook in Las Vegas because I liked it so much. John Murray he said, I want to know. And I said, I don't really love anybody. I could make a case for Boston. Boston's been the better team all year. But you're right. Is Porzingis going to throw off kind of what they've gelled without him? Rust versus rest. You've got a team who's hot. You got Kyrie returning to Boston. And that's where I like the storyline with MVP. I always love a good storyline because that's how those people are going to vote. That's how people are going to decide. He has one good game in Boston, and then they end up winning the series, winning it all. I think they give it to him. I know Luka's obviously the front runner. We know that he is the guy to make that last minute 3 to win the game, which ultimately is why he's 6-1 to win the MVP. But I like Kyrie 25-1. And obviously that coincides with the Mavericks winning it all.
No question about that. I think Kyrie could possibly win MVP for sure. I think he's going to have a tough time with Holiday and White guarding him, giving him a little bit of problems. However, I do think Luka is definitely the front runner, no question about it. But to me, for even Boston to have an inkling in this series, it's going to come down to Tatum. It's going to come down to their decision making of whether to blitz that pick and roll screen or to drop in coverage, to be able to drop and allow PJ Washington, allow Tim Hardaway, allow Derrick Jones to hit those threes that killed them in the series up here in Minnesota. That they just killed us in Minnesota. So I think that's going to be something interesting to watch for, to see what kind of adjustments that both of these teams make. I just think I don't think the Mavericks are going to lose any home games. I think they could still win in Boston to be able to win it in 6. Now, switching over to the NHL, I was very shocked, not going to lie to you, that the Rangers did not make it to the Stanley Cup Finals. They have been the best team, to me, all season long. But Florida is the reigning champions. If I'm not mistaken, they're the reigning champions. And now they're going against the Edmonton Oilers. Connor McDavid is one of my favorite players in the league.
He's very good.
Very good. He's hot. Their team is hot right now, right? They're very hot. And what do you think about that particular series? Because in my mind, I think Florida wins it. I think Florida goes back to back. If you're looking at the team and looking how it's shaped up, I think they win in 5, maybe 6.
So it's interesting, right? This is the longest distance between two NHL teams. Either team's had to go. And I know these guys are going to fly private, but it doesn't matter. So you got to feel for the reporters. Think about them. They're taking like 9-10 hour flights to go back and forth between this series. I think those guys are the real MVPs because that sounds awful. I think this is a coin flip. And I think the line actually indicates that it's a coin flip. I don't know who's going to win it. I think we see it go to 7 games. I think it is going to be a knockout, drag out, absolute dogfight for 7 games. And I think that's what the Stanley Cup needs. With a little bit of the layoff with some of the early losers and then having some time off, I think it's going to be an awesome series. If you're forcing me to pick, I guess I'll go with Florida. I agree. Last year's champs winning it back to back. But man, Edmonton looks good. Like you said, they have the best player on the ice. This is going to be, I think it's just going to be fun. I don't know. I may find a game here or there to bet on, maybe throw a little bit on the over in game 1. I know a lot of people are expecting the defenses to be tightened up. I don't know. I think we're going to see a ton of offenses early. I'm going to go with the Panthers to give you a direct answer, but I think, man, it looks like a coin flip to me.
I'm definitely going to go with the Panthers. I absolutely agree with you. The first game, I definitely think a lot of goals are going to be scored in that first game. If any time where the defense is going to tighten up, it's probably going to be later in the series. Teams are going to get a feel for each other. These are two teams that don't really play against each other, obviously, often. Yes, the best player on the ice, without question, will be Connor McDavid. The Edmonton Oilers definitely have that. But I just think that with the experience that Florida has went through, also being able to knock out the number 1 seed in the Rangers, and they kind of dominated that series.
They really did.
I just think that Florida would definitely come along and win this series. I think it's going to be 5 of the toughest games that they played because Edmonton is not going to just let them win it. But at the same time, I do think Florida wins it in 5 on their home ice. This next question is my last question, girl. What is something, or is there anything else that you would like to add before we conclude?
No, this has been really fun. I have another show after this, but of course I do. You're doing some really fun stuff with the Premier Lacrosse League over the summer. Try to find some winners. So that's going to be different. The CFL, as I mentioned, starts today. So we're going to just be cruising along. Head over to Twitter at Kelly in Vegas if you guys want to make fun of me for picking PLL losers, or maybe we can get hot, rattle off some winners.
I love it. I love it. Once again, this is Kelly Stewart of Wager Talk, one half of the Kelly Murray podcast. She is absolutely brilliant. Y'all need to go follow her on Twitter and all her social media accounts. Kelly, thank you so much for hopping on my podcast and breaking bread with me. And we will definitely be in touch. Once again, whenever I 2 touchdown near Tampa, I'll definitely hit you up.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris.
No problem.